Leela Kane had always been curious. Even at 16, her mind worked like a finely tuned starship engine, constantly calculating, exploring, and imagining possibilities. She lived on New Earth Station, a massive orbiting colony that glowed like a jewel against the black void of space. From her small window, Leela could see the swirling colors of nearby nebulae and the glittering trails of distant starships. To most people, it was beautiful, but to her, it was a puzzle waiting to be solved. Leela's curiosity had brought her here. She was part of the Celestial Research Expedition, a group of human scientists and engineers sent to study uncharted planets beyond the familiar star systems. Humans were respected across the galaxy for their ingenuity, their courage, and their unyielding spirit, but they were not considered dominant. Other alien species often underestimated humans, seeing them as unpredictable children in the cosmic playground. That mistake would soon become fatal. The day began like any other. Leela floated through the corridors of the station, her small backpack full of instruments. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. Today, she would land on Violia 9, a newly discovered planet rich in strange vegetation and a breathable atmosphere, rare for planets outside the core systems. She had prepared for months, learning about alien biology, gravitational variances, and the history of past explorers. Nothing, however, could have prepared her for what was about to happen. "Leela, are you ready?" called Captain Rourke, the commander of the research mission. He was tall, with silver hair streaked with black, and a face that had seen too many crises to ever worry about small problems. But when he looked at Leela, he saw something that no simulation could teach him: fearless intelligence. "Ready as I'll ever be, Captain," Leela replied, her voice calm but excited. She always spoke with a certainty that inspired confidence, even in adults who had fought wars across the galaxy. The shuttle that would take them to Violia 9 hummed softly as it detached from the station. Leela sat by the viewport, watching as New Earth Station shrank into a bright point of light. The stars stretched out in front of her, endless and inviting. She had explored many planets, but there was something about Violia 9 that felt different, alive, in a way she could not yet understand. When they entered the planet's atmosphere, the view changed. Lush forests of deep blue and purple stretched as far as the eye could see. Rivers glittered like liquid crystal. Strange, floating creatures drifted through the sky, their translucent wings catching the sunlight. Leela's heart raced. This was why humans explored, not for conquest, not for profit, but for wonder. "Scanning the area," Leela said, her fingers moving over the portable console. "No signs of intelligent life. Atmosphere is breathable. Gravity slightly lower than Earth's. Standard adjustments for landing. We're clear to proceed." The shuttle touched down on a smooth, flat plain. Leela floated out, her boots sinking slightly into the soft surface. The air smelled sweet, like a mixture of flowers and minerals. She crouched to examine the soil, fascinated by its rich, alien composition. Every detail mattered. Every discovery was a piece of a much larger puzzle, but curiosity has a way of walking hand in hand with danger. They were not alone. From the horizon, strange shapes appeared, tall, angular beings with silver skin and eyes like molten gold. Leela froze. She had never seen anything like them before. Captain Rourke stepped in front of her, protective but calm. "Remain calm. They may be curious. They may be friendly," he whispered. The beings approached slowly. Their movements were precise, deliberate, almost mechanical. Leela raised her hands in a peaceful gesture. She knew from previous encounters that fear and aggression could escalate quickly. Humans had a reputation for intelligence, but sometimes intelligence was mistaken for threat. Then, before anyone could react further, one of the alien patrols mistakenly perceived Leela as a weapon, an unknown object they had been warned to neutralize. A flash of light, a sudden beam, and she fell. The world did not end with violence. Leela did not scream. She simply collapsed, the life in her eyes flickering like a candle in the wind. Captain Rourke and the team rushed to her side, but it was too late. In the stillness of that alien plane, humanity lost one of its brightest stars. Back on New Earth Station, alarms blared. Communications were frantically open to the galaxy. Reports came in from sensors, revealing exactly what had happened. And for the first time, the galaxy realized a truth that humans had quietly known for generations. Never underestimate them. Within hours, Earth's highest councils convened. Discussions were held in secure rooms where no alien ear could listen. The Secret Fleet, a group of ships always rumored but never seen, activated. This fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had imagined, a network of stealth ships, AI-assisted, capable of intervening anywhere without notice and always with precision and control. Captain Rourke, shaken but resolute, stood before the council. "They made a mistake," he said. "A mistake that cost us Leela, but this is not just about revenge. This is about respect. The galaxy must understand that humans value life, all life, and especially their own. We act not out of anger but out of principle." The council members nodded. Humans had always been admired for their intelligence, for their bravery, and for their ethics. And now, with Leela's death, a new message would be sent. Not a message of destruction, but of unmistakable consequence. Meanwhile, the galaxy's coalition responsible for the incident remained unaware of the storm they had just invited. To them, humans were clever, yes, but still limited, still predictable, still manageable. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Leela Kane's death would change everything. Her name would echo in secret fleets, in strategic war rooms, in communication hubs across stars. Her courage, her intelligence, her life, it would inspire a response the galaxy would never forget. And somewhere in the hidden corridors of Earth's secret fleet, starships began to stir. Engines hummed quietly, lights blinked in sequence, and AI systems activated protocols that had never before been used. Humanity was about to teach a lesson, not in anger, not in hatred, but in the power of mind, spirit, and principle. The galaxy had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated a human girl, and humans never, ever forget. The news of Leela Kane's death spread through the galaxy like a quiet storm. It did not roar, it whispered. Yet in its whisper, there was a warning that no one could ignore. Humans were not a species to be underestimated. Back on Earth, deep beneath the surface of New Earth Station, a network of secret corridors led to a place few had ever seen. It was called the Command Core, home of the Secret Fleet, Earth's silent guardians among the stars. The fleet had existed for decades, hidden from alien eyes. Some believed it was a myth, others thought it was an exaggeration, but it was real. And now, for the first time in decades, it was awake. Captain Rourke stood on the bridge of the flagship Horizon Sentinel, the largest and most advanced ship in the fleet. Its sleek, silver hull shimmered with energy, powered by human technology that even the most brilliant alien scientists could not fully understand. Around him, officers worked quietly but efficiently, monitoring star systems, plotting trajectories, and running simulations. "This is it," Rourke said, his voice low but firm. "We do not attack to destroy. We act to show the galaxy that humans value life and that every action has consequences. Leela's life was taken without reason. The galaxy will learn that such mistakes are costly." He paused, letting his words sink in. Humans had always been known for their creativity, their courage, and their morality, but few had seen all three applied at once on such a scale. "Captain," said Lieutenant Aaron, a young officer with quick reflexes and an analytical mind, "our intelligence reports show the coalition responsible for Violia 9 is spread across 3 sectors. They are unaware of our capabilities. Their security is weak, predicted response times are slow, we have an opportunity." Rourke nodded. "Good, prepare the fleet, we move quietly. No alarms, no confrontations, precision only. Our message must be clear. Humans do not forgive negligence. The fleet awakens. The secret fleet was unlike any other. It consisted of 30 ships, each with advanced stealth technology, energy shields, and AI-assisted navigation. The ships could operate independently or in perfect synchronization. Each vessel was equipped not with weapons to destroy life, but with containment fields, immobilization grids, and communication disruptors. It was a fleet designed for one thing: strategic intervention. Humans had learned long ago that true power was not measured by destruction, but by control, foresight, and intelligence. As the fleet moved into position near the coalition's territories, the officers worked in silence. Every calculation, every course, every system check was precise. Even a small mistake could escalate the situation. But humans had prepared for this. They had always prepared. Rourke walked through the bridge, observing the young officers. "Remember," he said, "we are here to teach, not to harm. Every life is valuable, and every action must reflect that. Humans do not act out of anger. We act with reason and principle." Lieutenant Aaron smiled slightly. "They won't see it coming. They won't expect humans to respond with intelligence instead of violence." "Exactly," Rourke said, "and that is what makes us strong. The first move, the first step of the operation was observation and disruption." The fleet moved silently to the outskirts of the alien coalition space. Sensors picked up patrols, communications, and the movements of military vessels. Humans watched, analyzed, and predicted. Then, in a precise sequence, the fleet activated communication interference fields. Alien ships attempting to send warnings found their signals scrambled. Navigation systems went haywire for a few minutes, causing confusion without damage. From a distance, it looked like chaos, but it was controlled chaos, orchestrated by human minds. Rourke activated a holographic display in the center of the bridge. It showed the coalition's largest ship, a massive battleship called the Obsidian Eye, moving toward the source of the disruption. "Target identified," Rourke said. "We will immobilize without harm. Watch carefully." A beam of soft blue light extended from the horizon sentinel, creating a containment grid around the alien battleship. The ship's engine slowed, then stopped. Crew members inside moved, confused but uninjured. The grid did not damage the vessel, it simply paused it in space. Lieutenant Aaron's eyes widened. "They'll never know what hit them, and they'll have to listen." Rourke nodded. "Prepare the message. It's time they understand the cost of their actions." The human message. Unlike other species, humans communicated with clarity and honesty. The message broadcast across the alien fleet was simple but powerful. "You have underestimated humanity. You have taken one of our brightest minds without cause." Leela Kane was a child of reason, courage, and curiosity. She mattered. Every human life matters. You have made a mistake. Understand it and respect it. The aliens received it in confusion. They had never encountered such a direct, non-threatening approach combined with undeniable control. Their ships were trapped, immobilized, and yet untouched. The humans were not using force. They were using strategy, intelligence, and moral authority. Rourke watched the display carefully. "Notice their reaction," he said. "They are realizing the mistake themselves. They are scared, not of humans, but of what humans can do without violence. That is the power they cannot understand." The coalition's ships attempted evasive maneuvers, but the fleet adapted instantly. Every move the aliens made was countered with precision, without a single shot fired. The humans demonstrated that discipline, planning, and empathy could command respect across the stars. The Galactic lesson. As the hours passed, humans guided the coalition representatives to a neutral meeting point in space. The aliens were curious, anxious, and, for the first time, respectful. Humans boarded the immobilized vessels, not as conquerors but as teachers and diplomats. Captain Rourke entered the main chamber of the Obsidian Eye. Alien leaders turned to face him, their golden eyes wide with caution. Your mistake was grave, Rourke said calmly. You acted without knowledge, without understanding, and without respect. But humans are not cruel. We do not act out of anger. We act with principle. Leela Kane was important to us. She was a child, yes, but she represented the best of humanity: curiosity, intelligence, and courage. Your actions endangered not just her life, but your understanding of the galaxy. An alien leader, tall and angular, spoke in measured tones. We did not know the consequences. We meant no harm. Intent does not excuse action, Rourke replied, but we are willing to teach, observe, learn, and respect. Let this be the first lesson of many: never underestimate humans. Our strength lies not only in technology, but in thought, planning, and the value we place on life. The HFY moment throughout the galaxy, messages spread. Reports from the Coalition traveled faster than light. Other species learned of humans' secret fleet, of their ability to immobilize without destruction, and of their unwavering ethical stance. Humans became a benchmark, a species whose power was not measured by firepower or aggression, but by intelligence, restraint, and honor. Rourke returned to the Horizon Sentinel. He looked out into the infinite void of stars and thought of Leela Kane. Her life had been taken, yes, but her death had sparked something far greater, a reminder to the galaxy that humanity is not to be trifled with. Lieutenant Aaron spoke softly. Do you think they'll remember the lesson? They will, Rourke said, voice steady. Humans always make sure the galaxy remembers, and next time they will think twice before underestimating a human child or any human. The fleet returned to stealth, fading into the darkness of space. The galaxy would not see them coming again, not until humans chose to reveal themselves. And humanity had made its point without a single life lost, except for Leela Kane, whose brilliance would echo through the stars forever. The galaxy had been warned. Humans had shown their hidden strength. And the universe would never be the same. The galaxy had quieted after the first display of human power. Alien races whispered about the secret fleet, a force they had once thought myth. Ships that could appear and disappear, immobilize fleets without destruction, and communicate with precision had suddenly changed the rules of interstellar diplomacy. Humans were no longer just clever. They were unpredictable and principled, a combination that no species had learned to respect until now. Captain Rourke and the Horizon Sentinel hovered silently near the Coalition's territory, invisible to sensors but visible in intent. He looked at the stars beyond the viewport and thought of Leela Kane. The girl's curiosity had started this chain of events, and it was her memory that drove humans to act not with anger, but with ethics and strategy. Sir, said Lieutenant Aaron, pointing to the fleet hologram, the Coalition ships have regrouped. They are attempting a diplomatic approach. It seems they want to meet on neutral ground. Rourke nodded. Good. It's time they learned the next lesson, not through force, but understanding. The human way: humans had always valued life. Even in the most dangerous situations, they avoided unnecessary harm. This principle was now their greatest advantage. The Coalition representatives did not understand it. They expected revenge, punishment, or domination. Humans offered something entirely different: clarity, insight, and a lesson in respect. The Horizon Sentinel projected a holographic bridge between itself and the Coalition's largest ship. The alien leaders stared at it, unprepared for the human presence. Captain Rourke stepped forward, his face calm but commanding. You have acted without thought, he began, his voice steady. You took a human life without understanding who she was or what she represented. Leela Kane was not just a child. She was curiosity, intelligence, and courage. Her life mattered to us, and it should matter to the galaxy. The aliens shifted nervously. They had prepared for threats, for retaliation, for war. Not for this, an ethical confrontation that highlighted their mistake and offered a path to understanding. Rourke continued. Humans do not act out of anger. We act out of principle, Every action has consequence. You have learned that today. One of the alien leaders, tall and silver-skinned, spoke hesitantly. We did not know. We thought we were following orders. We did not understand her importance. Intent is not excuse, Rourke said gently, but ignorance can be corrected, and that is why we are here, not to destroy but to teach. A galactic lesson. Over the next several hours, humans demonstrated their principles in practical ways. The coalition ships were carefully immobilized, not trapped forever, but temporarily, long enough for humans to demonstrate coordination, patience, and precision. The aliens were forced to follow human instructions for safety checks, navigational corrections, and system calibrations. They quickly realized that every human command was designed not to punish, but to teach responsibility and foresight. Lieutenant Aaron smiled quietly as she observed the alien crew following instructions. They're actually learning. They've never seen strategy like this, intelligence without aggression. That's human nature, Rourke replied. We have survived for centuries not because we dominate, but because we plan, adapt, and respect life. That is our true power. By the end of the demonstration, the coalition's leaders had a clear understanding. Humans were a species that valued life, intellect, and morality above all else, and crossing them, even accidentally, had consequences far beyond immediate harm. The turning point. As the day progressed, Rourke initiated a direct holographic communication with the Coalition's Command Council. The room on the Obsidian Eye buzzed with nervous tension as humans addressed the alien leaders openly. You must understand, Rourke said, that underestimating humans is a mistake the galaxy cannot afford to make again. We are not the strongest in terms of brute force, but our intelligence, coordination, and ethical standards make us formidable. Leela Kane's death could have sparked anger, but instead it has created understanding. You are witnessing human power and mercy at its peak. The alien leaders exchanged glances. They had prepared for a display of force, but they had not prepared for human restraint combined with overwhelming strategy. One alien council member spoke. We understand. You are teaching, not punishing, but how can we be sure this will not happen again? Rourke smiled faintly. You cannot be certain. That is the point. Humans are unpredictable, not in chaos but in principle. If you act recklessly, you will face consequences, but if you act with respect, there is cooperation. That is the lesson Leela Kane's life and death imparted. Building respect, humans did more than immobilize ships or issue warnings. They shared knowledge, maps of safe routes, guidance on star currents, and protocols for interstellar diplomacy. Aliens listened carefully, absorbing everything. They began to see humans not as a species to fear, but as teachers of strategy, ethics, and foresight. Lieutenant Aaron whispered to Rourke, "They're actually respecting us. Not because we're scary, but because we're clever and fair." Exactly, Rourke said. Respect built on understanding is far stronger than fear built on weapons. The coalition representatives started asking questions about human society, their culture, and how they valued life. Humans shared stories of explorers, scientists, and thinkers who had changed the galaxy through ideas rather than violence. Leela Kane's name came up often, her story told as an example of curiosity and courage shaping outcomes far beyond one life. By evening, the coalition leaders were no longer defensive. They were thoughtful, introspective, and cautious. They understood that the galaxy had changed and that humans had altered it not through dominance but through principle. The HFY moment. Captain Rourke finally allowed the coalition ships to leave. They were free, but the lesson was clear. Humans had proven that life is valued above conquest. Intelligence and strategy are stronger than aggression. Mistakes have consequences, and principle guides action. As the fleet returned to stealth, Lieutenant Aaron turned to Rourke. "Do you think they'll remember the lesson?" "They will," Rourke replied, voice steady. "They will tell others." And the galaxy will remember that humans are not only capable of brilliance, but of mercy and foresight. Leela Kane's life mattered, and now her legacy will guide how the galaxy treats humans in the future. Even in the quiet of space, the human fleet seemed alive. Engines hummed softly. Lights blinked in coordination. Each ship moved as if aware of its purpose, to protect, to teach, and to inspire. The galaxy had seen humans at their best, not through fear, not through weapons, but through mind, courage, and heart. And for those who had underestimated humanity, the lesson was unforgettable. The ripple effect news of the event spread quietly, carried by sensors, intercepted communications, and discreet reports. Alien races began to reconsider their attitudes toward humans. Where they had once dismissed humanity as small, reckless, or simple, they now saw a species whose intelligence, ethics, and coordination made them formidable without aggression. In distant colonies, scientists whispered about Leela Kane. Explorers told stories of her courage. Children learned her name. Humanity had made a mark on the galaxy, one that would last for generations. Rourke stood on the bridge of the Horizon Sentinel, looking out at the endless stars. "This is just the beginning," he said quietly. "The galaxy now knows humans are not to be underestimated, and it all started with a girl who loved to learn, who wanted to explore, and who inspired the best in us all." Lieutenant Aaron smiled. "Then she really did change everything." "Yes," Rourke said. "And the galaxy will pay attention. From now on, every human life matters. Every action is considered. That is the strength of humanity. That is the lesson of Leela Kane." The fleet faded into the darkness of space. The galaxy had learned respect. Humanity had demonstrated its true power. And somewhere, Leela Kane's spirit shone among the stars, reminding the universe of what humans could achieve with intelligence, courage, and principle. The galaxy had changed. It was subtle at first. Whispers in trade stations, cautious glances at human ships, discussions about Earth in alien councils. But the impact of humanity's measured response to Leela Kane's death spread like light across the void. Humans had demonstrated a power that few could measure, the power of intelligence, ethics, and foresight. They had shown that strength was not only in weapons, but in mind and principle. Captain Rourke stood on the bridge of the Horizon Sentinel, looking at the stars stretching endlessly before him. The fleet was returning to Earth's orbit, but this time they were not hidden. They moved openly, not as conquerors, but as guardians of human values. "Sir," Lieutenant Aaron said, pointing to the holographic displays of interstellar communication channels, "all major councils are broadcasting discussions about the human fleet. They're analyzing our actions and the story of Leela Kane. They're calling it a turning point." Rourke nodded. "Good, let them talk. They must understand that humans are not unpredictable in chaos. They are unpredictable in principle. That is our true strength, the galactic recognition." By the time the fleet returned to Earth, representatives from dozens of alien species had arrived in orbit, requesting audiences. They came not as adversaries, but as observers and learners. They wanted to witness firsthand the species that had reshaped the rules of engagement in the galaxy, without a single life lost beyond the one they had taken. The council chamber aboard New Earth Station was immense, filled with alien dignitaries of every shape, size, and color. Silver-skinned Virelians, tall, angular Zephyri, and even the small, glimmering Noctari all watched carefully. Humans, once considered minor players, now held the attention of the galaxy. Rourke stepped forward. "You are here because you have witnessed what humans value most: life, intelligence, and moral responsibility. You have seen how we respond to tragedy, not with vengeance, but with clarity, precision, and principle. This is the essence of humanity." The aliens listened, some nodding, some silent, all attentive. For the first time, humans were not just respected, they were admired. Honoring Leela Kane's story was shared in detail. Holographic projections showed her work in astrophysics, her explorations on distant planets, and her quiet courage in the face of unknown risks. Aliens gasped at her brilliance, realizing that the human girl they had dismissed had sparked a lesson that resonated across the galaxy. Rourke spoke again. Leela Kane may have been young, but her life represented the best of humanity: curiosity, courage, intelligence, and above all, the ability to inspire others, even across species. Today, because of her, the galaxy understands what humans are capable of, not through violence but through principle. One of the Zephyri Council members stepped forward. "We underestimated humans, and we have learned our error. We now understand the importance of respect and caution when dealing with your species." "That is all we ask," Rourke replied calmly. "Respect is earned through understanding, not fear. Remember that." A new era of diplomacy. The galaxy began to shift. Human-led initiatives expanded into diplomacy, science, and culture. Humans were invited to councils, consulted on interstellar disputes, and asked to teach others how to act with intelligence and ethics. Even species that had once been hostile now approached humans cautiously, seeking guidance rather than confrontation. Where others relied on intimidation or technology alone, humans demonstrated that principled action and foresight could achieve results far beyond what weapons ever could. Lieutenant Aaron watched as alien delegates studied human protocols. "It's amazing," she said quietly. "They're listening, really listening," Rourke smiled. "Humans have always had the ability to inspire, Aaron. Leela Kane's life reminded the galaxy of that power. Intelligence and ethics combined are unstoppable." The HFY moment, humanity's power was no longer a rumor or myth. The galaxy had seen it, a species capable of responding to tragedy with strategy, mercy, and principle. The story of Leela Kane, the girl who had been underestimated, became a legend, taught in academies, discussed in councils, and remembered across star systems. Even those who had acted recklessly now understood. Humans are not easily measured. They are resilient, clever, and principled. They value life, not just their own, and will act decisively to preserve it. The galaxy began to see humans as guardians, thinkers, and leaders. Back on the Horizon Sentinel, Rourke reflected on the events. Leela Kane's life was brief, but her impact is eternal. She sparked understanding, respect, and change across the galaxy. That is what makes humanity strong, not our ships, not our technology, but our values and minds. Aaron looked at him, eyes bright. "Do you think the galaxy will ever underestimate us again?" Rourke chuckled softly. "Perhaps some will try, but those who do will learn, as the Coalition did, that every human life matters, and that lesson will echo forever." A legacy among the stars. Leela Kane's memory was honored with a new space academy named after her. Young humans and alien students alike studied her discoveries, her courage, and her example. Her story was not one of sorrow alone. It was a story of how a single human life could inspire an entire galaxy to respect intelligence, ethics, and life itself. Meanwhile, Earth's secret fleet returned to vigilance. Their work was not over. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and sometimes reckless, but humanity now had a reputation, a shield stronger than any weapon. Rourke stood once more on the bridge of the Horizon Sentinel. The stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the new order of the galaxy. Humans had proven that they could inspire awe and respect without killing, without domination, and without cruelty. That was their true power. "Humans are not just survivors," Rourke said softly. "We are teachers, explorers, and guardians. And the galaxy will remember that, thanks to Leela Kane." Aaron smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. "Then she really did change everything." "Yes," Rourke said, gazing into the void. "And now the galaxy knows it." The final HFY payoff. Across the stars, alien fleets operated with new caution and respect. Human colonies thrived, and humans were sought after for advice, diplomacy, and guidance. Every species had learned the same lesson. Humans are brilliant, principled, and unpredictable in ways that cannot be ignored. Leela Kane's story had begun with tragedy, but it ended with triumph, not of a single ship or fleet, but of a species proving that intelligence, courage, and ethical action could reshape the galaxy. Her life, though brief, became a catalyst for understanding, respect, and human recognition. The galaxy had learned that killing a human, even accidentally, was never without consequence. And so, humanity rose, not through violence but through principle. The universe would never again forget that humans value life, think beyond themselves, and act with a combination of courage and wisdom that no species could match. Somewhere in the quiet of the stars, Leela Kane's spirit shone bright. She had been underestimated, but her legacy had made humans a species the galaxy would never dare underestimate again. The galaxy had learned humanity, and humanity, in return, had learned the power of one life changing everything.